Well, well, well. Hey, everybody. Hey, everyone. Hi, Dee Dee. What's up? You do get a live stream today. Hey, Yubin Tom. Welcome, welcome, welcome. QP, welcome back. 6V Ralrock. Hey, nice of you to join. Hey, Korea. Streety McMeaty. I love that name. Streety McMeaty. Dum, 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 dum. Hey, Nikki. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Katie. Glad you could join. Vincent Van Gogh. Wow, that's someone famous here today. Hi, Vincent. What's up, Lee Rams? The Grandmaster is here. What's up, Losh? Hey, Hope. You are so tired. You hope you hope I can add the kung fu laugh to the sound effects. You mean this one? Wait, where is it? Oh my god. All right, you guys. This week, man, what a week it has been. Holy shit. All right, so at the beginning of the week, I think on Monday, yeah, it was very windy around where I am. Very windy. I think the winds went up to, it peaked at 90 miles an hour. Yeah, that day or that night, I went to sleep. All right, and then I woke up to the sound of banging, bang, 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 outside the my backyard. Right, and I was like, what is that sound? What is that? And of course, it was windy too. So I walk out, I walk to the backyard, and I look up, and so I have a patio, right, in the back. And the roofing, I have corrugated roofing, right? It's kind of white corrugated roofing. And it was half of it was gone. Half of it was gone. The wind had taken it. And I have one part which is hanging on for dear life. It was banging against the wood. Now I usually don't get panicked. Right? I'm usually a pretty calm person, so I wasn't like, oh my god, but I was like, oh crap, now I gotta fix it. Right. The first thing I did was that piece that was hanging on for dear life. I took a heavy piece of wood and I put on top so that it doesn't fly away like the others. But yeah, it was gone. My freaking patio roof. So first thing I did was I went online and I looked up the weather. Okay, I looked at the weather, and it said that on that Friday it was going to rain. All right, so this was the beginning of the week. So I had about 3 days to fix this thing. Okay, so I couldn't just wait. I couldn't just do do it gradually, slowly, like 1 or 2 hours a day to spend time on it. No, I had to do it in 3 days to fix the whole thing so that it doesn't rain and gets like water all over my patio because I had stuff on the patio. So I looked up how to fix or how to replace uh, the corrugated roofing. So yeah, I went to Home Depot and I bought the stuff, and yeah, I started fixing it. Started just I had to take down. What happened was I think a piece of the wood also broke. All right, that was why because the panels were screwed onto the wood, but the wood broke, so everything broke. I had to replace that too. So I wanted to do it all by myself. I was gonna do it all by myself because I'm a man, I'm a man, and men do things like that. Um, so I was doing it, and then my dad came over, and he's a construction dude. He's retired now, but he used to do construction stuff. So he came over and he wanted to help, and he did help. As in he took over everything. He was like, "Oh no, oh you got to do it this way. You got to do it that way. You got to do it this way. You got to do it that way." He ruined all my plans. Yeah, like he was a professional or something. Um, yeah, but anyways, he helped me that day, and then he left. But I did the rest of of the roof, and I finished it in 3 days. How about that? So yeah, I finished it on the Thursday, and then on Friday it was going to rain, right? So Friday was the test, right? Will my roof leak? And Friday came and it rained, and guess what happened? It didn't leak. No water. Success. Success. Built a roof within 3 days. Yeah, the problem was that I didn't have time to do anything else. So I didn't have time to make videos or anything. So that's why there wasn't any video on Saturday. My dad, yes, you're right, Nikki. My dad can literally do everything. He's a construction dude. He can do literally anything. That is typical dad behavior. Yeah, Susano was very mad that day. Just wanted to take my roof. Oh, I should have prepared some pictures. Oh no. Yeah, I took some pictures. Maybe I'll show it some other day. But yeah, it looks pretty good. Half of it looks new, the other half looks really old. But anyways, insert metric translation. I don't know how to. 90 miles per hour winds. I don't know how much that is in kilometers. You can look it up. Your dad used to take over your algebra homework. Yeah. Yeah. Man, it was windy that day. But right now it's not windy anymore. I think we're good. I think Susano has calmed down. What else happened? Oh, you know what happened? Okay. So I went to Target and I was buying shampoo because I ran out of shampoo. So I was looking for shampoo and I was looking at the one that I usually get, right? Which is what was it? It's that gray Dove for men's shampoo. Okay, yeah, I get the men's shampoo, not the feminine shampoo. Okay, I want shampoo that puts some hair on my chest. So I bought the no, I didn't buy it. I looked at it, so I was looking at the ones that I usually buy, and then I noticed that it said face and body wash on it. I was like, wait, face and body wash? That's not shampoo, right? And then of course right next to it was the actual shampoo. And I was like, have I been using face and body wash instead of shampoo for for a very long time? Um yeah, it turns out I was. So I've been buying face and body wash and using it as shampoo. Is there a difference? So I'm using actual shampoo now. I don't think it. I don't feel any different. What's the difference? It's just soap, right? I'm such an idiot. That's 145 kilometers an hour. Yeah, look at that. Those are strong winds. Wood smell or sea and beach one? The shampoo was, what was it? It had like a minty smell. Yeah, smells pretty good. It's all marketing. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Doesn't matter, does it? It's just soap. It's all soap, right? Yeah. I use shampoo on my face too, obviously, because what else would you do? Like I only have that, right? I'm not gonna go like shampoo my hair and then use another bottle to shampoo my or to wash my face and body. I don't use body wash actually. I use the actual soap bars. What do you guys use? What is better? Is the liquid body wash better than the soap or the bar soap? Use use toothpaste as my shampoo. I don't think I'm supposed to do that. I don't think that's part of marketing. How can a cyclone go to California? Nope, California is not the Indian Ocean. California is next to the Pacific Ocean, which is supposed to be calm. So we don't usually get winds that fast. But for some reason, this week it was very fast. DD. Okay, you're right. When I was younger, I did use a bar of soap for everything. I didn't even know that you're supposed to use a different thing, like shampoo for your hair and something else for the rest of your body. I just use a bar of soap for everything. All right. And I only found out that you're supposed to use shampoo for hair when I was very old. I think I was out of high school. When I was in college, I went to the doctor, and I don't know how we got into this conversation. But we somehow got to the conversation of shampoo, and he taught me that you're supposed to use shampoo for your hair, not just a freaking bar of soap, like a barbarian. What's that one and only? No, you're right. No, you're not supposed to use the bar soap for your hair. It's not good. Because I feel the difference. Like after shampoo, your hair seems softer, right? If you just use a bar of soap, it's very dry. Because it has conditioner. So if you didn't know, I just taught you something. Any hoozles. All right, I have some food, some snacks today. I don't know what this is. We'll see. It has a strawberry. Yeah, what's that? Blueberries or grapes on it? So let's see. There are cleansing bars for the face. Okay, you guys are just too. It's just too much, you guys. You're too fancy. I don't use conditioner because I use the 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. So yeah. So I guess that's okay, right? Oh, what the hell? It's kind of like cereal. What is that? All right. Is it going to be sweet or salty? I think it's going to be sweet. Not gonna lie, it tastes like cereal. With some fruity flavor. Yeah. Yeah. I taste some strawberry in it. Cereal balls? You have to use conditioner? Okay. Is it better to use conditioner separately? Or is it okay to use the shampoo and conditioner in one? That's what I do. Less work for me. What's up, Focus Ball? Use Dove. I feel like you gotta have conditioner. It just feels better that way afterwards. Oh yeah. I found my editor. I did find the editor. So he's working on the next video. Right? I already gave him all the artwork and the assets, and I had a meeting with him. And we went over what to do. So he's gonna do it. I'm excited to see what happens. All right. The first couple of videos that we work on together may be kind of janky. I don't know. Hopefully not. But you know, these things, they're growing pains, you know. So hopefully we'll get into a groove, and there'll be more quality videos. We'll see. Oh, Ryosio Aki, thank you so much for the super chat. Both are good. If 2-in-1 works for you, then stick with it. Yeah, 2-in-1 is the best. Oh, thank you guys. Thanks a lot. Yeah, actually, like quite a few people emailed me to become editor. So I interviewed a couple of people. But yeah, so I'm glad I found this dude. He seems to be well qualified. Does that mean we may get more streams? I don't know if you get more streams, more reading streams. Maybe maybe reading other things, like scary stories or something. That would be fun. The thing is, I need scary stories to read, right? And I can't violate copyright, so I just can't read anything I find off the internet. I need to ask for permission. So that's the one thing that we need to worry about. But yeah, if I can like look on Reddit or something and find some good stories and ask the person if I can use the story in the video, I can read that stuff. Maybe I can play games online. That'll be fun too. I'm thinking of putting these videos on another channel, because right now they're all unlisted, right? Because I don't want it clogging up the normal videos. So maybe I put it on another channel and put the streams on there. That'll be cool. I think that would be better. Korea is reminding everyone. Why you gotta remind people, Korea? So yeah, if the reading today, or like every day, if there's a word that I don't know and you catch me on it, then that means I'm punished by I have to sing one karaoke song at the end. I don't know what games you guys like to play. Like if I do a stream, I'll need to collect a bunch of stories and then read them all in one stream, right? Because it can't be just one story; they might be really short. Anywho, well, this is all in the future, all right? Hopefully, with the editor, I'll save some time and I'll have more time to do other things and make merch and stuff. That'll be good. I've always wanted to make more merch. Yeah. All right. Let's see. What happened last week? Okay, so last week was a fun chapter. So, our hero Ling Hu Chong and his school, they reach this ridge. They go onto this ridge where they meet people, a lot of people, right? And they have they meet a lot of people from the unorthodox side of the martial world, right? And remember, that's the other side. That's the side that Ling Hu Chong is supposed to be against. Okay? He's on the orthodox side. Okay? So this side, a bunch of like hooligans there, okay? And they throw a big old kegger, all right? A gigantic party for Ling Hu Chong, right? And no one knows why. Even now, no one knows why. But they throw him a huge party. And they're all drinking and they're all having fun. And Dr. Ping One Finger is there, okay? So Dr. Ping grabs Ling Hu Chong and into a tent, and he tries to check his pulse to see how he's doing. Okay, because remember he has a fatal disease. He's gonna die in like 100 days. So Dr. Ping One Finger says he has a way to cure our hero. Okay, he has a way to cure him. Except when he checks his pulse, he finds out that, oh crap, he can't cure him. Okay, because in the past couple of days, a lot of people have tried to heal Ling Hu Chong. Have tried to cure him by giving him medicine and all these kinds of weird medicine, right? But the problem is, it's all interfering with each other, and it's all causing chaos within his body. And Dr. Ping One Finger can't cure him, all right? Plus, not only that, plus Ling Hu Chong is depressed, okay? And he doesn't seem to have the will to live anymore, all right? So because he's sad that his younger apprentice sister loves another dude, loves Lin Pingzhi, all right? And she's not his anymore. So he's all sad. He doesn't really want to live, all right? He's just kind of like walking along, waiting for his day to die. So because of all of that, Dr. Ping can't cure him. Like, I can't do it. And the problem with that is that, remember, his model is that if he cures a person, then he has to kill another person. If he kills one person, then he has to cure another person. But what happens if he can't cure a person, right? He's never had that happen to him before. So his solution is to kill himself. So he decides to kill himself. So he offs himself, and it's all sad. And I like the Dr. Ping One Finger, but he's dead. He's gone now, you guys. He's gone. And suddenly everyone, a little bit later afterwards, everyone from the party leaves. Okay, all of a sudden they all leave, and Ling Hu Chong is alone. We don't know why, but it could be because he hears the sound of a zither, okay, playing off in the distance, and it sounds like the zither that the old granny was playing, the old bamboo granny, back in that bamboo grove. So he follows the music and he comes to this small shack, and he hears her voice, and she talks to him from inside the shack, and it is indeed the granny. So they have a reunion. They're all happy. They're talking to each other, and then these people from the Shaolin and the Kunlun schools, martial arts schools, arrive on the ridge. Okay, so these are famous schools. Shaolin is the Shaolin Temple. They arrive because they heard that there were a lot of unorthodox people up in the ridge, and they wanted to fight them. All right, get rid of evil. They go and they see the shack. They see Ling Hu Chong, and they see the shack, and they try to come in to the shack to see who is inside. All right, but Ling Hu Chong stops them, and he's like, "You can't do it. I won't let you." And he fights them, and he defeats them, and they run away. So afterwards, Ling Hu Chong escorts Granny to wherever it is that she's going. Now, so she makes him, before their journey, she makes him promise not to look back at her. Okay, so she makes him promise not to look at her, any part of her. Okay, that's her condition. And he's like, he thought that was a little weird, but it's fine. Yeah, he agrees. So they go off together. They walk in, and then they see off in the distance that some people that were at the party, okay? And the people are like, "Hi." But then they see the granny behind them, and they have this terrified look on their faces. And some people actually take out their knives and they stab themselves in the eyeballs, okay? And they blind themselves. They're that afraid, okay? And all these people take out their knives and they're about to cut off their eyeballs, and then Ling Hu Chong is like, "Please stop!" Begs the granny to tell them to stop, and the granny is like, "Okay, fine. I'll show some mercy, and I will. You guys don't have to cut off your eyeballs. What you do have, I will banish you to this one island, and you have to go live on this island forever." Right? And they're like, "Oh, thank you so much that we don't have to blind ourselves," and they go off into to go live on an island. So, which is weird. Okay, now the granny we thought she was like a good person, but it looks like there's something else going on. She may not be a good person. We're not sure. And what else happened? So they keep on walking, and they see this monk. They see the monk that Ling Hu Chong had fought before, right? And he's in this group of other monks, and they're monks from the Shaolin Temple. Okay, and among their ranks was one guy who's like an old Shaolin master, and he goes, the granny stays behind, so no one sees her, and then Ling Hu Chong goes to talk to them, and that's where we ended. So how's that? How's that recap? Was that long? Wow. Like 10 minutes. Ling Hu Chong does grow more emo by the day. That he does. That he does. They're not all monks? Okay. Oh, yeah, they're all Shaolin apprentices. These chapters are getting weirder and weirder. Okay, let's go. Chapter 17, In Love, Part 2. Ling Hu Chong stepped closer. Feng Sheng, this is the Shaolin master, reached out with his right hand and then gripped Ling Hu Chong's wrist. As soon as he placed his fingers on the Da Yuan and the Jing Chu acupoints on Ling Hu Chong's wrist, he felt a stream of peculiar inner energy inside Ling Hu Chong's body, which gave his fingers a violent jolt and made them slip off the acupoints. Feng Sheng felt a shock in his heart. He was one of the few top fighters among the highest generation of Shaolin monks. It was simply unimaginably queer that the inner energy inside the young man was powerful enough to jolt away his fingers. How could he have known that there were inner energy streams from the Peach Valley, Six Fairies, and Monk No Commandment inside Ling Hu Chang's body? Although he had top-notch kung fu himself, when caught off guard, he still could not stand the combined force from those 7 elite fighters. He couldn't help but utter a light cry of surprise. Fixed his stare on Ling Hu Chong's eyes, he spoke slowly. "Young hero, you are not from the Huashan school." "I really am an apprentice of the Huashan school. I was the first apprentice my master, Mr. Yue, ever took in," Ling Hu Chong replied. "Then why did you learn the heretical kung fu from heterodoxy people afterwards?" Feng Sheng requested. "Uncle Master, this chap is without a doubt using heterodoxy kung fu. There's no point in denying it. But didn't we see..." Oh wait, there's another person. "Uncle Master, this chap is without a doubt using heterodoxy kung fu. There's no point in denying it. Didn't we see a woman follow behind him just now? Where is she hiding now? I bet she is a no-good egg, acting so clandestine and all." Yi Guozi cut in. "You are a member of a renowned school. How can you be so out of manners?" Hearing Yi Guozi insulting the granny, Ling Hu Chong yelled angrily. "Granny just doesn't want to see you, so as to not get angry over you." "You tell her to come out. Whether she is good or evil, my uncle master can tell with his sharp eyes," Yi Guozi dared him. "Our dispute started because you were disrespectful to my granny. Haven't you spoken enough nonsense?" Ling Hu Chong rebuffed. "Young hero Ling Hu," Jue Yue joined in. "Earlier, when I looked by the hill, I could see that the woman following behind you walked in very nimble steps, and didn't seem to be an aged woman. Granny is a member of the martial world. It's only natural that she had nimble steps. What's so odd about that?" Ling Hu Chong disagreed. "Oh, wait, is she not a granny?" Clandestine? Clandestine means like secretive, or means like, wait, hold on. Means like you're disguised, you know? Secretive and disguised. All right, clandestine. Oh, kept secret or done secretively, especially because illicit. Is that bad grammar? But what now, Nikki? You're gonna have to do better than that. 爵爷, we are members of the Buddha's order. How can we insist on seeing the elder female member of other people? Feng Sheng reproved. Turning toward Ling Hu, he said, Young hero Ling Hu, there are many doubtful points in this matter that I could not figure out. You are indeed severely wounded, but your internal wounds are completely out of the ordinary. It could not have been my nephew, apprentice Yi, who had caused the injuries. It is fate that has brought us here together today. I wish you a speedy recovery. Farewell, for now. Your internal injury is very serious. I have 2 pills here that you can take, but I am afraid they won't cure. Feng Sheng reached into his chest pocket. Ling Hucheng felt his admiration soar in his heart. An accomplished monk from Shaolin shows extraordinary bearings indeed, he thought to himself. Bowing toward Feng Sheng, he said, It is so fortunate that I can meet great master. Before he had a chance to finish his words, you're giving me that one? That's right, clandestine. Yeah. Before he had a chance to finish his words, suddenly a loud ring echoed, and Yi Guozi had unsheathed his sword. Here she is, Yi shouted excitedly, and then dived into the bush where the granny had been hiding, sword first. Nephew Apprentice Yi, don't be rude, Feng Sheng shouted. With a loud whoosh, Yi Guozi had flown back out from the bush, and after gliding tens of feet in the air, he dropped to the ground like a log, facing upwards. His arms and legs twitched a few times, and then he became still. Feng Sheng and the rest of the people were astounded. A hole had appeared on Yi's forehead, from which blood gushed out. He still held a tight grip of the long sword in his hand, but he had already stopped breathing. Ooh, that calls for a bell toll. Xin Guolang, Huang Guobo, and Jue Yue roared in unison, each gripping his weapon tightly. They made at the bush in fury. Feng Sheng extended his arms to his sides, and as the loose sleeves of the monk's robe spread open, a powerful yet soft stream of energy force blocked the 3 men like an invisible wall. May I ask which friend from the dark wood cliff has come here? Turning toward the bush, Feng Sheng asked gravely, his voice loud and clear, but only silence followed, a complete silence which swept all over the hundreds of shrubs and bushes. Our school never had any imbroglio with the dark wood cliff. Why have you slain nephew apprentice Yi with such murderous scheme? He asked again, but still no one responded from within the bushes. The dark wood cliff? The dark wood cliff is where the demon cult is headquartered. Could this granny have been a senior member of the demon's cult? Ling Hucheng was thunderstruck. I've had the chance to make acquaintance with Chief Dongfang once many years ago. Chief Dongfang is the head of the demon cult. I've had a chance to make acquaintance with Chief Dongfang once many years ago. Friend, now that you have committed the murder, we must settle the discord once and for all. Why don't you show yourself? Feng Sheng urged. Chief Dongfang? Is he talking about the chief of the demon cult, Dongfang Invincible? That man was known as the #1 fighter in the entire world. Then this granny really is a member of the demon cult. Ling Hucheng felt another shock shooting up his spine. But the granny stayed behind the bushes and would not respond. Ah, Nikki. Imbroglio. Shit. Our school never had any imbroglio with the dark wood. I'm gonna say imbroglio means problem. Our school has never had any problem with the dark wood clip. I think I'm right. I'm pretty sure that's what that means. Extremely confused, complicated, or embarrassing situation. That's a problem, right? That's a problem. Yeah, look, similar. Problem, difficulty. I think I'm right. Let me know if you guys agree. Oh shit, where are we? But the granny stayed behind the bushes and would not respond. Friend, if you insist on not showing yourself, please excuse the old monk's discourtesy then. Feng Shang exclaimed as he retracted his arms slightly, and immediately energy soared inside his two sleeves, inflating them like two large balloons. He pushed his arms forward, and the powerful force shot out from his palms. A loud crack exploded in the air as the dozens of scrubs all broke from the middle and small branches, and the leaves swirled in the midair. Right at that moment, a shadow leapt out from the remains of the bushes. Even though Ling Huchong really wanted to take a look at the granny's appearance, he still remembered the promise he had made and quickly turned his back to it. He could hear the roaring and bellowing from Xin Guolang and Jue Yue together with the sounds of weapons clashing with each other, so dense and so speedy that it sounded as though the raindrops from a thunderstorm bouncing off the window. Apparently, the granny had already engaged in the right with Feng Shang and his group. It was about 10 o'clock in the morning, and the sun hung in a corner of the sky, casting rays of sunshine down from an angle. Although Ling Huchong found himself tormented by anxiety and curiosity, in order to keep his promise, he dared not to turn his head around to glance at the fight, and only looked down at the ground where the dark shadows cast by the five fighters fluttered wildly. Fang Shang and his three nephew apprentices had surrounded the granny. Fang Shang was not holding any weapon in his hand. Jue Yue was using a Buddhist spade. Huang Guobo used a knife. Xin Guolang wielded a longsword. The granny had a pair of very short weapons in her hands. They looked like daggers, yet also assembled the shapes of Amei's things. The weapons were short and thin and almost looked as though they were transparent. Looking only based on the shadow from the sun, Ling Huchong could not make out what kind of weapons they were. The granny and Fang Shang both fought quietly, whereas Xin Guolang and the rest of the two all bellowed at the top of their lungs, which seemed to have made their attacks more menacing. Wait a minute. You're not accepting that that imbroglio means problem? It's a complicated situation. Look, it's similar, right? Look, it says right here, problem, difficulty. That's a stretch. All right, fine. All right, fine. That's one song. That's one song. I think I'm right. I think you guys just want a song. I think you just want me to sing a song. The water. All right, fine. I will take the L on that, you guys. Already? We just started. That's one song, one karaoke song. This is not gonna go well. Can't we talk this over? This is outrageous. Four guys attacking an elderly granny at the same time, Ling Huchong protested. An elderly granny? This chap must be daydreaming. She... Huang Guobo scoffed when Fang Shang suddenly shouted to him, Huang, watch out! Nah, she's not an elderly granny. Doesn't seem like it. Huang suddenly uttered a painful cry. Evidently, he had just taken a hard hit. Ling Huchang was almost dumbstruck with amazement. This granny's kung fu must have been terrific, he thought. Earlier, when Great Master Feng Shang broke those scrubs with sheer energy force, he showed astonishing inner strength, but this granny is able to get the upper hand on 1 against 4. Suddenly, Jue Yue also cried loudly in pain. The Buddhist's spade flew out of his grip, over Ling Huchang's head, and then fell to the ground dozens of feet away. By then, there were only 3 fluttering shadows on the ground. Both Huang Guobo and Jue Yue had collapsed, and it was only Feng Shang and Xin Guolang still left in the fight against the granny. What a sin, what a sin. You are too ruthless, killing my 3 nephew apprentices, one after another. I can no longer hold my hands. You give me no choice but to do everything in my power to contend with you, Feng Shang exclaimed. Loud clapping sounds followed. It appeared that Great Master had wielded his weapon, which seems to have fallen under the category of a wooden club or staff. Ling Huchang only felt the turbulence of energy behind his back. Became swifter and fiercer, which compelled him to take steps forward again and again. An accomplished Shaolin monk was certainly no trivial matter. As soon as the Great Master Feng Shang began using his weapon, the situation of the fight changed immediately. Ling Huchang could vaguely hear the granny gasping heavily, as though she had used up her inner strength. Throw down your weapons. I won't make this difficult for you. I only want you to come with me to the Shaolin Temple, so I can tell the abbot, apprentice brother, what happened, and then awaits his judgment, Great Master Feng Shang said. The granny did not respond. Instead, she suddenly launched a series of quick attacks towards Xin Guolang, who had a hard time fending them off and retreated from the fight, letting the Great Master Feng Shang take it over. After taking a short moment to collect himself, Xin Guoliang rejoined the fight, waving his longsword fiercely. After a few more minutes, the clanking sounds from the weapons clashing against each other gradually slowed down, while the turbulence created by the inner energy streams turned louder and louder. Your inner strength is no match for me. If I were you, I would have thrown down the weapons and then go to the Shaolin Temple with me. Forcing yourself to go on with the fight would only result in severe internal injury, Great Master Feng Shang persuaded. The granny only replied with an angry snort. But suddenly she shrieked, and Ling Huchang felt some kind of watery substance splashing onto the back of his neck. He wiped it with his hand and then looked at the hand, which was now a color of dark red. What had splashed onto the back of his neck turned out to be blood. What a sin! What a sin! With your new wound, you won't be able to hold out much longer. You should know that I have been holding back all along, Great Master Feng Shang spoke again. This woman is an evil demon, Uncle Master. Please eradicate the evil and avenge the 3 apprentice brothers. How can we show any mercy to an evil monster? Xin Guolang snarled. Ling Huchang could hear the heavy panting and the staggering footsteps of the granny, and it sounded as if she could be collapsing any minute. The granny asked me to be her escort, so I can protect her. How could I just stand by the side when she is in great danger? He thought to himself. With an echoing ring, he had unsheathed his longsword. Great Master Feng Shang, Senior Master Xin, please stop the fight, or else I'll have no choice but to offend you, Ling Huchang exclaimed loudly. We'll just eradicate this evil, along with the other evil then, Xin Guoliang bellowed as he thrust his sword toward Ling Huchang's back. Afraid that he might cast a glance at the granny, Ling Huchang dared not to turn around and simply dodged to the side. Watch out! The granny shouted as Xin Guolang also adjusted the angle of the thrust and still pushed his longsword toward Ling Huchang's back. Abbot is the head of the temple, of the Buddhist temple. Suddenly, Xin Guoliang screeched. Xin Guoliang screeched loudly as his body flew over Ling Huchang's left shoulder with an angle. Then a loud thump followed when his body hit the ground. His limbs twitched a few times before he finally stopped moving. Somehow, the granny had managed to hit him with a lethal blow. Only seconds later, there was another loud thump. The granny had been hit with a palm strike from the great master Feng Sheng, which sent her flying in the air and then falling into the bushes. Granny! Granny! Are you all right? Ling Hucheng yelled in astonishment. Then he heard the granny groaning in an undertone. Feeling somewhat relieved that the granny was still alive, Ling Hucheng turned slightly and then shot a thrust at Feng Sheng. The positioning of the thrust was extremely clever, and Feng Sheng was forced to leap back. Ling Hucheng immediately followed with another thrust, which Feng Sheng managed to block with his weapon. By the time Ling Hucheng withdrew his longsword, he had already completely turned around and was now standing in front of the Great Master Feng Sheng face to face. Now he finally saw the weapon Great Master was using, a 3-foot-long worn staff. Who would have expected his weapon to be simply a short staff? Ling Hucheng was taken aback. This Shaolin monk's inner strength is too overwhelming, and if I don't subdue him with my sword arts, the granny would die for sure. At that thought, he quickly thrust up once, down once, and then up another twice, all using techniques taught by Feng Qingyang. Phew! Phew! Great Master Feng Sheng croaked, his face turning completely white. Ling Hucheng dared not to slow down in any way, knowing too well what consequences that would have brought. He did not have any internal strength, so any slack would give his opponent the opportunity to overwhelm him with resourceful inner energy. Then undoubtedly he would be killed instantly, and the granny would be for sure taken to the Shaolin temple as a prisoner and later executed. He cleared his mind completely, and then poured out the techniques after technique from the profound Dugu 9 swords at will. The Dugu 9 sword art was the utmost fine and ingenious sword art. Although Ling Hucheng had lost all his inner strength and had not fully understood all the subtleties of his sword art, his sword attacks forced Great Master Feng Sheng to back up step after step. Soon, Ling Hucheng felt the energy streams soaring inside his chest once again, and his arms aching and limp. His sword moves also grew weaker and weaker. Drop your sword, Feng Sheng suddenly shouted out as he struck his left palm toward Ling Hucheng's solar plexus. By then, Ling Hucheng was already done up. He thrust his sword out, but only halfway through with the thrust, his arm dropped down from exhaustion, which also lowered the sword. Grinding his teeth, Ling Hucheng pushed the thrust forward anyway, but this slight delay had slowed his thrust quite a bit, and Great Master Feng Sheng had already placed his left palm on Ling Hucheng's solar plexus, holding his inner strength back, asking, Dugu 9 swords? Where? Oh, this monk knows about the Dugu 9 swords. But right at that split of a second, Ling Hucheng's sword also pierced into Feng Sheng's pit of stomach. Ever since he met the Shaolin monk, Ling Hucheng had held him in the highest regard. As soon as he felt the sword tip touching Feng Sheng's skin, he pulled hastily with all his strength and withdrew his sword. Having used too much strength at the pull, he lost his balance and fell to the ground, blood gushing out from his mouth. Brilliant sword arts! Great Master Feng Sheng pressed his hand onto the wound on his chest and praised brightly. If young hero had not shown mercy with your sword, my life would have perished right in front of my own eyes. He did not mention a word about the fact that he had shown great mercy by holding back the power from his palm strike, and began coughing wildly after speaking these words. Although Ling Hucheng worked his best to withdraw the sword, the tip of the sword still cut into Feng Sheng's chest, leaving a wound over an inch deep, injuring Feng Sheng seriously. I'm terribly sorry that I have offended you, Great Master, Ling Hucheng gasped. I certainly had not thought that Senior Master Feng Qingyang of Huashan had found a disciple for his brilliant sword arts. I had once received the great graciousness from his senior master, Feng, many years ago. Today's matter, I I cannot decide for myself. Great Master Feng Sheng spoke softly. Reaching into his rope slowly, he took out a small paper bag and then unwrapped it, showing 2 pills in the size of 2 longans inside. These are healing panaceas of the Shaolin Temple. You can take one, he said. After a slight hesitation, he said, "Give the other one to that woman." "My injuries are incurable. Why waste a perfectly good pill? Great Master, I think you should take the other pill for yourself," Ling Hucheng replied. "I have no need of it." Great Master Feng Sheng shook his head and then set the 2 pills down in front of Ling Hucheng. Turning his head around, he looked at the 4 corpses on the ground, one by one, his face now looking mournful and grieved. Putting his palms together, he began reciting some Buddhist scriptures in a gentle voice, and gradually a look of harmony started to blossom on his face, and eventually his face appeared so peaceful, as though it was glowing with a divine halo, looking infinitely merciful. Feeling awfully lightheaded, Ling Hucheng knew that he could not hold out much longer, so he picked up the 2 pills and took one down his throat. When Great Master Feng Sheng finally finished reciting the scriptures, he turned to Ling Hucheng once again. "The disciple of Senior Master Feng's Rugu Nine Swords cannot have been a follower of evil. Young hero, you have great chivalry deep in your heart. Reasonably speaking, you should not die an untimely death. But the internal injury you are suffering is extremely peculiar and cannot be cured with medicine or acupuncture. The only way for you to stay alive would have to be studying advanced internal Qigong yourself. If you listen to an old Buddhist monk, I suggest you come to the Shaolin Temple together with me, and then I'll entreat the headmaster apprentice brother to teach you the utmost supreme internal energy techniques of our Shaolin school. I am sure, then, your internal injuries can be cured." After some more coughs, he continued, "Only the few who possess the right karma can study this set of Qigong techniques. I, for example, do not have such fortune. The headmaster of the Shaolin school, my senior apprentice brother, is especially large-minded. He might find you the one with the right karma to teach this supreme kung fu to." "Great Master, many thanks for your kindness. After I've escorted Granny to a safe place, if I were lucky to still be alive, I would pay a visit to the Shaolin Temple and pay my respects to Great Master and the Headmaster Abbot," Ling Hucheng replied respectfully. You call her Granny?" A look of surprise spread over Feng Sheng's face as he muttered, "Young hero, you are an apprentice of a reputable and orthodox school. You should not associate with evil. My suggestion is for your own good. It will be wise to reconsider." "A true man always keeps his words. How can I break my promise to others?" Ling Hucheng exclaimed. "Very well. I look forward to seeing young hero again in the Shaolin Temple." Great Master Feng Sheng sighed. Casting a quick glance at the 4 corpses on the ground, he murmured, "4 abandoned vessels. Burial or no burial, what difference does it show? When a soul leaves the mortal world, death ends it all." Turning on his heels, he strolled away. Yeah, Ling Hucheng is a bit slow. Like, that is not a granny, dude. "Granny, are you all right?" Ling Hucheng asked while sitting on the ground, unable to move. He gasped wildly, his entire body aching. Rustling sounds rose from behind his back as the granny came out of the bushes. Oh, how did I do her voice again? "I won't die," she replied. "You'd better go with that old monk. He said he could cure your internal injuries. The internal Qigong techniques of the Shaolin school are absolutely matchless in the world. Why are you still here?" No, I don't think that was it. I promised to escort Granny. Then of course I'll escort all the way, Ling Hucheng answered. You've been wounded badly. How can you escort me? Aren't you wounded as well? We'll see, Ling Hucheng grinned. I am an evil, heterodox monster, and you are an apprentice of a reputable orthodox school. If you associate with me, aren't I ruining the clean name of an apprentice of a reputable school? I never had any clean name to start with. What do I care how others think of me? Granny, you have been so kind to me. Ling Hucheng is not one who doesn't know what is right and what is wrong. You have been severely wounded. If I leave you just like that, how can I ever see my own face in a mirror? So you are saying that if I had not incurred any wounds, you would have left me just like that? Aren't you? The granny snapped. Ling Hucheng was slightly taken aback, but he smiled. If Granny, you don't dislike me, a young and ignorant lad, and would prefer to have me around as company, then Ling Hucheng is willing to stay by your side and be your chat partner. But I am afraid that I have always been a crude one who commits all kinds of outrages at will, and maybe only a few days into it, Granny would not want to talk to me anymore. The granny let out a snort, but did not answer. Extending his arm backward, Ling Hucheng handed the pill given by Great Master Feng Sheng toward the granny. That Shaolin monk is truly remarkable. Granny, you killed 4 apprentices from his school, but he would rather spare the healing panacea for you instead of taking it himself. When he fought with you earlier, he probably held back some, he said. If he did not hold back, how come he still wounded me? If he did hold back, how come he still wounded me? People like that pose as members of the reputable and orthodox school, hypocritically pretending to be the good guys. I despise them, the granny replied angrily. Granny, why don't you take this pill? After I took one, I did feel much better around my chest and my stomach, Ling Hucheng suggested. The granny acknowledged, but did not take the pill. Granny, Ling Hucheng spoke again, but was cut off by the granny abruptly. We are the only 2 here. Why do you keep calling me Granny? Granny, can't you give it a rest? Sure, that'll be fine. Why aren't you taking the pill? Ling Hucheng grinned. Since you think the healing pill of the Shaolin school is great, and the healing pill I gave you is no good, why didn't you take this pill from the old monk together with the one you took earlier? The granny mocked. What? When did I ever say that your healing pill is no good? You are really wronging me. Besides, the Shaolin School's healing pill is great, and that's why I want you to take it, so you can gather up some strength sooner for the journey. I see. So you think it's too boring to be my company, don't you? Go ahead, leave. Nobody is stopping you, the granny snapped again. Why is the granny so grumpy all of a sudden, always at odds with me? Oh, I got it. She is suffering from severe wounds and is not feeling well. Then naturally her temper went high. I can't really blame her, Ling Hucheng thought to himself. Grinning brightly, he said, but I am too exhausted to even move half a step. Even if I wanted to go, I couldn't. Besides what? Haha what? The granny asked in an annoyed tone. Haha is haha. Besides, even if I could go, I wouldn't have wanted to go, unless you go together with me. Ling Hucheng beamed. At first, he had always maintained good manners when talking with the granny, but when she started to throw a fit and became unreasonable, he also became unbridled. But to his surprise, the granny did not get angry, and suddenly fell into a silence, lost in thought. Granny, Ling Hucheng called out. You are calling me Granny again. Have you never called others Granny before? Don't you get tired of calling that? The granny reproved. From now on, I won't call you Granny anymore. How should I call you then? Ling Hucheng asked with a smile. The granny did not answer him right away. Only after a few moments, she finally said, We are the only 2 here. We are the only 2 here. Why bother? As soon as you open your mouth, I'll know you are talking to me. Could you have been talking to anybody else? Sometimes I like to talk to myself. I hope you don't misunderstand, Ling Huchong smirked. Always talking so roguishly. No wonder your little apprentice sister doesn't want you, the granny snorted. These words struck Ling Huchong right on the spot in his heart where it hurt the most. His heart sinking horribly, he couldn't help but think, little apprentice sister dislikes me and likes apprentice brother Lin. Maybe that really is because I am always roguish in doing things and saying things. That's why she was unwilling to commit her life to my care. That's right. Apprentice brother Lin always toes the line and acts like a perfect gentleman, almost an exact duplicate of master. If I were a girl, I would have liked him, and not the always ill-behaved prodigal, yet alone little apprentice sister. Alas, Ling Huchong, you always get drunk and run wild, pay no attention to school rules and regulations. You are beyond redemption. I made friends with the evil rapist, Tian Bo Guang. I slept inside the brothel in the town of Hangyang. Little apprentice sister must have felt awful. Why, did I touch a sour spot? You are angry now, aren't you? Didn't hear a reply from Ling Huchong. The granny asked. No, I'm not angry. You said it right. I always talk roguishly and doing things roguishly. No wonder little apprentice sister dislikes me, and master wife also dislike me, Ling Huchong answered, his voice gloomy. Don't be depressed. Your master wife, and your little apprentice sister dislikes you. Doesn't mean that there's no one else who likes you. Oh, what? What is going on? The granny comforted him, her voice so soft and gentle, filled with consolation. Ling Wuchang was utterly grateful. A feeling of warmth washing over him, he felt something choking in his throat. Granny, you are so kind to me. So even if nobody else in this world likes me, that would be all right. You surely have a honey mouth, always speaking pleasant things. No wonder even people like the Blue Phoenix of the Five Sylph sect was full of praises when talking about you. Very well, you can't walk, and I can't walk either. We'll just have to spend the night over there or under that cliff. I wonder whether we'll die today. If we survive today, I wonder whether we'll die tomorrow. If we survive tomorrow, I wonder whether we'll die the day after, Ling Huchong grinned. Drop it. You crawl over there slowly, and I'll be right after you. But if you don't take this pill from the old monk, I am afraid I don't even have enough strength to crawl one step, Ling Huchong whined. You are talking nonsense again. If I don't take that pill, are you the one having no strength to crawl? The granny asked. This is definitely not nonsense. If you don't take the pill, your injury won't recover soon, and for sure you would not be in a mood to play the zither. Then I'd be all worried to death, and where do you expect me to find strength to crawl over? I won't even have any strength to just lie here, much less crawl over, Ling Wuchang explained. Even lying here requires your strength? The granny chuckled. That's of course. This is a slope here. If I don't use my strength to hold myself still, I would have rolled all the way down it and fallen into the mountain gully below. Then either I'll smash myself to pieces or drown. Even when you are so severely injured, not knowing whether you can make it till tomorrow, you are still in such a merry mood to joke about. People as cheeky as this had to be rare in this world, the granny sighed. Ling Huchang threw the pill back behind his back, gently. Will you just take it, please? He pleaded. Anyone who poses as a member of the reputable and orthodox schools cannot be a good egg. If I take this pill of the Shaolin school, it will only dirty my mouth. The granny let out an irritated snort. Ouch, Ling Huchang suddenly cried as he leaned his upper body to the left and then rolled toward the mountain gully down the slope. Look out! Astounded, the granny shouted. Ling Huchang kept on rolling. The slope was not very steep, but was very long. It took Ling Huchang a good while to finally roll to the edge of the gully. Spreading his arms and legs widely, Ling Huchang stopped himself from rolling any further. Hey, Hello? Are you alright? The granny shouted. The sharp rocks along the slope gave Ling Huchang's face and arms quite some cuts and bruises, but he kept his silence in spite of the fierce pain. Fine, I'll take the old monk's stinking pill. Get back up here, the granny shouted again. You said it, you can't go back on your words, Ling Huchang replied. At the moment, there was already quite a distance between the two. Ling Huchang didn't have any inner strength, so his voice couldn't reach very far. The granny only vaguely heard some indistinct sounds, but couldn't make out what he had said. What did you say? She asked. I... Ling Huchang wanted to answer, but had to gasp for air. Hurry, come up here. I promise I'll take the pill, the granny shouted. Ling Huchang tottered back onto his feet and tried to climb up the slope, but to roll down the slope was way much easier than climbing back up again. Only after 2 steps, his leg suddenly gave out under him, and after some staggering thump, he really fell into the mountain gully. Seeing how Ling Huchang fell into the mountain gully from high above with a good view, the granny was stunned. Giving it no thought, she also rolled downward along the slope. When she finally rolled by Ling Huchang's side, she reached out and grabbed onto his left ankle with her left hand. After taking in a few deep breaths, she clutched his back robe and then pulled a dripping wet Ling Huchang out of the water. By then, Ling Huchang had swallowed many gulps of water, and golden sparkles danced in front of his eyes. He shook his head slightly, trying to pull himself together, when suddenly he noticed the 2 inverted images reflected in the water. A young girl clutching his back robe tightly in her hand. Feeling very muddle-headed, he then heard the girl uttering a painful cry from behind his back, spilling a mouthful of warm blood onto the back of his neck. The girl bent over his back as though she had been paralyzed. Feeling the girl's soft body leaning on his back and her long hair brushing against his face, Ling Huchang found himself at a loss, as though all his emotions had been emptied out of his heart. He took another look at the reflection in the water. Half of the girl's face could be seen from the reflection. Her eyes were shut tight, and her long eyelashes swayed in the breeze. Even though he could not see very clearly from the reflection in the water, he could still tell that she was gorgeous. He could still tell that she was a gorgeous-looking girl, 17 or 18 years of age. Ha! So, it looks like Granny is not Granny at all, as if anyone didn't know. Granny is a girl, 17 or 18 years of age. Define gully? Ah, crap. The mountain gully. Ah, crap. Well, see, he fell in the gully, and he's dripping wet. Oh, it's between a little valley. It can be a valley, a little cave, or a pool. I'm gonna say a mountain gully is a pool. It's a little pool of water. Gully. Oh! A ravine formed by the action of water. I'm right? I am so good. I am a genius. I'm a genius. I can't do the voice that I gave her again. I don't know. I don't remember what it was. I'll think about it during the break. No, it's a ravine formed by water, but it's dripping wet. He's obviously dripping wet, is he not? A gully can have water or it cannot have water, but that's not the main thing. The main thing is that it's a little ravine. Do I get that? Like, a ravine is not a pool. A pool is far more stagnant, while a gully is formed by rushing water. Oh, really? Oh, really? Come on. Let's look at a picture. Let's look at some pictures of gullies. Look, that's a gully. That has water. It doesn't need to have water, but it can. Okay, so it's not a pool, technically. It's a little, like, stream. A little depression. Alright, half for the last one, half for this one. I think I get half of that, okay? So, 2 songs. God damn it. 2 songs. Alright, I need a break. 2 songs. Alright, I'll be right back. 5 minutes, you bastards. Oh, sorry. Wait. Oh, sorry, you guys. Well, wait a minute. Oh no, I switched to the wrong screen. Ah! I'm sorry. I'm terrible. Alright. Alright, let me start over. I was just reading to myself. Jesus Christ. That was totally my fault. Alright. So Ling Huchang is like, he has no clue. Who is this girl? Why did a young girl suddenly come out of nowhere to rescue me? He was deeply amazed. The reflection in the water and the feeling on his back were both telling him that the girl had fainted. Ling Huchang wanted to turn around and prop the girl up, but his entire body felt weak. He didn't have enough strength to raise a finger. It felt as though he was in the middle of a dream. He gave another look at the graceful appearance in the reflection of the water and could not decide if he had already arrived at a wonderland. All he could think of was, am I dead already? Am I in heaven? A long while passed when the girl on his back finally came around. Were you just trying to scare me? Or did you really want to kill yourself? She asked, her voice trembling slightly. As soon as Ling Huchang heard her voice, he almost jumped out of his skin. The voice he had just heard was completely identical to the voice of the granny. Shocked beyond description, he muttered, trembling, You... What? I just won't take the old monk's stinking pill. Go ahead, commit suicide and show me, the girl snapped. Granny, so you are a pretty little girl, Ling Huchang muttered. How did you know? The girl screeched. You promise breaker? Have you peeped? As soon as she looked down and then saw a clear reflection in the mountain gully of herself leaning on Ling Huchang's back, her face turned completely scarlet, and she hurriedly struggled to stand up. But right after she straightened her back, her knees became weak, and she fell right onto Ling Huchang's bosom. Why did they use that word? After a few frantic tries to prop herself back up, which almost made her faint once more, she had to lay still. Ling Huchang's heart was filled with puzzlement. Why did you disguise as an elderly granny to fool me, pretend to be a senior master, and cause me, he asked eagerly. Cause you what? The girl asked. The girl's cheek was only about a foot from Ling Huchang's eyes. Her skin was so white as though it was made out of crystal. and dimly showing a shade of flush beneath the skin. Caused me to call you Granny this and Granny that all the way. Ha! Shame on you. You aren't even old enough to be my younger sister, yet you want to be my granny. If you want to be my granny, better wait at least another 80 years. When did I ever say that I was a granny? The girl chuckled. It was you who wanted to call me granny. Didn't I get mad at you because you kept calling me granny just now? I told you not to call me that, but you just wouldn't listen. Am I right? Ling Huchang had to agree inwardly that these words were very true. But having been hoodwinked for so long and having acted like a complete fool on his part, he just couldn't let it go easily. You deceived me on purpose. Then you disallowed me from looking at your face. If I had looked at you face to face, would I have called you a granny? It even goes all the way back to the city of Luoyang. Even back then, you intentionally tricked me, colluding with Elder Bamboo Green, that old goat, and asking him to call you auntie. And he was already so old, and since you were his auntie, how can I not call you a granny? Elder Bamboo Green's master calls my dad Uncle Master. Then what should Elder Bamboo Green address me as? The girl grinned. Wait, what? Elder Bamboo Green's master calls my dad Uncle Master. Then what should Elder Bamboo Green address me as? Okay. Ling Huchang was taken by surprise. Are you really Elder Bamboo Green's auntie? He asked hesitantly. That bloke Elder Bamboo Green is not someone extraordinary. Why would I want to pretend to be his auntie? What's so great about being an auntie? Well, I am so stupid. I should have already known. Yeah, you should. Ling Huchang heaved a sigh. Have already known what? The girl asked, giggling. Your voice is so pleasant. How can there be any 80-year-old granny in this world with such a tender and melodious voice? My voice is so coarse and hoarse, like the croaks of a crow. No wonder you thought I was an old granny, the girl said, beaming. Your voice is like the croaks of a crow? Well, the world really has changed, so the croaks of crows nowadays actually sound more pleasant than the singing of orioles. The girl knew that Ling Huchang was praising her. A quick flush shot across her cheeks as her heart thumped with joy. All right, Grandpa Ling Hu, Senior Master Ling Hu, you've called me Granny for so long. Now I'll call you back. Will that even it up for you? Are you happy now? The Granny reconciled. If you are Granny and I am Grandpa, then we are the Grandpa and Granny, aren't we? Ling Huchang said in a big grin. He had always been the unrestrained and uninhibited type, having no scruples when he talked. He was just about to say, aren't we a couple then, when he suddenly noticed the knitted eyebrows and the angry look on the girl's face, so he shut up abruptly. What kind of nonsense are you talking about? The girl growled. I said that if we are Grandpa and Granny, aren't we both senior masters of the martial world? Ling Huchang answered. The girl knew very well that he had just gone out of his way to change his wording, but decided not to pursue the case, afraid that he might spill out even more coarse terms. Leaning on Ling Huchang's bosom and sensing the strong scent of a male in her nose. Why did they put it that way? She sensed the strong scent of a male in her nose. This language. She had already felt great distractions in her heart. She really wanted to stand up, but her limbs simply would not comply. With a blushed face, she demanded, Hey, give me a push. Give you a push for what? Ling Huchang asked. The way we are is very inappropriate, the girl said. It's appropriate for Grandpa and Granny, Ling Huchang grinned. If you keep talking rubbish, I'll kill you, the girl yelled in a stern voice. Ling Huchang felt a chill on his back as he remembered how she had made dozens of men cut out their own eyes and then banished them to the Twine Dragon Island in the East Sea. And he dared not make any more jokes. Then he remembered, even in such a young age, she was able to kill 4 apprentices of the Shaolin school with simply a raise of her hand. Such excellent kung fu skills, combined with such ruthless conducts. It is so hard to believe that these traits all belonged to this delicately pretty girl right in front of my eyes. You are getting angry again, aren't you? You are a man. How come you are so intolerant? Receiving no answer from Ling Hu Chong, the girl spoke again. I am not angry. I am feeling afraid. Afraid that you'll kill me, Ling Hu Chong answered. If you remain well behaved from now on, why would I want to kill you? The girl cackled. But I was born one with the nature of not behaving well. It's not like I had a choice. I guess I am doomed to die in your hands, Ling Hu Chong sighed. When you were calling me Granny, you showed a lot of respect to me. That was good. Very well behaved. Just keep doing that and you'll be fine, the girl said with a snigger. No way. Once I know that you are a little girl, I can no longer regard you as a granny, Ling Hu Chong shook his head. What? The girl muttered, but suddenly she seemed to have thought of something. She blushed and shut her mouth. Ling Hu Chong bent his neck slightly and took in a good view of the girl's face. It was a beautiful face, so sweet and charming, still carrying the tender coyness of a young girl, prettier than anything else in the world. In an almost dream-like state, he felt a slight tickle in his heart, and before he knew it, had already moved his head closer and kissed the girl gently on her cheek. The girl was shocked, and out of nowhere, she suddenly found some strength inside her that wasn't there a minute ago. Turning her hand over, she slapped Ling Hu Chong heavily in the face, and immediately after, she sprang up. But the strength disappeared as abruptly as it had come. Still in the mid-air, she found herself just as weak as a second ago, and a fraction of a second later, she fell back onto Ling Hu Chong's bosom once again. Only this time, she felt even feebler than the last time, and could no longer move a muscle. If you do that again, I'll kill you. Afraid that Ling Hu Chong might take even more liberties with her, and feeling utterly apprehensive, she muttered sternly. Whether you kill me or not, I have not much time left in this life. Anyway, I think I'd rather do it again. Ling Hu Chong grinned. I... The girl gasped in great worry, yet found herself at her wit's end. After working hard to gather some strength, Ling Hu Chong propped the girl's shoulder slightly and then rolled away to the side. What you gonna do? He asked with a grin. But right after these words, he coughed violently and spilled out a few mouthfuls of blood. Having become enamored all of a sudden and kissed the girl, he regretted immediately. And then getting hit on the face, even though he was still firm in speech, he knew he shouldn't have done so and dared not to stay close to her any longer. Ling Hu Chong rolled away from her all of a sudden. Ling Hu Chong's rolling away from her all of a sudden took the girl by great surprise. Seeing blood coming out of his mouth once again, after he used his strength, she felt regretful secretly, but thin-skinned as she was, she could not bring herself to speak any of it. Your chest is hurting pretty bad, isn't it? She finally asked gently. It's not my chest that's hurting, it's somewhere else, Ling Hu Chong replied. Where are you hurting then? The girl asked hurriedly, her voice filled with concern. Here, Ling Hu Chong stroked his cheek where the girl had slapped him. If you want me to apologize to you, all right. I am sorry, the girl smiled. It's my fault. Granny, will you please forgive me? Ling Hu Chong said. Hearing him call her Granny again, the girl burst into giggles. Where's that stinking pill from the old monk? You never took it, did you? Ling Hu Chong asked. I didn't have time to pick it up, the girl replied, and then pointed at the top of the slope. It's still up there. She paused for a second and then continued. I'll listen to you and take it when we get back up there, and not think about the stinking part. The two of them lay at the bottom of the slope and looked up. If it had been normal days, a simple leap would have gotten them up the slope, but now it looked almost like a 10,000-foot perilous peak that could never be reached. After exchanging some stares between each other, both of them sighed at the same time. I'll mediate for a while. Don't mediate? I think she means meditate. I'll meditate for a while. Don't interrupt me, alright? The girl finally said. Alright, Ling Hucheng answered, and then watched the girl leaning against the slope, closing her eyes, holding her thumb, index finger, and middle finger in a unique pose, and froze in a trance. Even the way she meditates is so different from others. She didn't need to sit up with crossed legs at all. He tried to calm himself and also take a rest, but the energy streams inside him rolled over and over, and he could only struggle in vain. Suddenly, a few croaks from a frog broke the stillness, and soon a corpulent frog hopped by him along the bank of the gully. Ling Hucheng was delighted. After the much fuss over the last half a day, his stomach had been keen for some food, and now food had just hopped right next to him. How perfect. Wasting no time, he reached for the frog, but his aching and limp arm obviously not cooperating, and he missed the target. With another hop, the frog jumped away from him, croaking loudly as though it was quite pleased with the getaway, and jeering at Ling Hucheng for his incapability, which Ling Hucheng returned with a sigh. But there turned out to be quite a few frogs along the gully, and soon another 2 frogs hopped by Ling Hucheng, who still failed to catch either of them. Suddenly, a thin and delicate hand reached out by his waist, and with an easy grip caught the frog. After meditating for a while, the girl had regained her mobility. Although she still felt feeble and weary, it didn't pose any challenge for her to catch a few frogs. Corpulent? Corpulent means fat. Corpulent. So corpulent frog means a fat frog. You don't believe me? I will look it up. Aha! Fat. Good try. Slippery noodle. Good try. He's a thick frog. Wonderful, wonderful. We can have a feast of frogs now, Ling Hucheng cheered, which the girl returned with a small grin. She went on catching more frogs, catching a frog with each stretch of her arm. Only a few moments later, she had already caught over 20 frogs. That's plenty. Will you please go collect some branches for the fire? I'll clean these frogs, Ling Hucheng directed. The girl went in compliance and soon returned with enough branches. Ling Hucheng drew his longsword and began chopping the heads off of the frogs and cleaning out the internal organs. The ancients killed a chicken with a cattle knife, and today our big hero Ling Hu kills frogs with the Dugu 9 swords, the girl said jokingly, and Ling Hucheng broke into a loud laugh. If big hero Dugu could hear this in the underworld, knowing that his disciple was so unworthy, he had to be enraged. He stopped abruptly, thinking that Dugu, seeking a loss, had been dead for many years. How could he have been enraged to death? Big hero Ling Hu, the girl spoke again. I really don't deserve the name Big Hero. Where do you go find a big hero who slaughters frogs? Ling Hucheng shook his head together with a dead frog in it. Well, there was a dog butchering champion in the ancient times. Why can't we have a Why can't we have a frog slaughtering hero today? The girl chuckled. This Dugu 9 swords of yours is marvelous. Even the old monk from the Shaolin school couldn't beat you. He said that the senior master named Feng, who taught you the sword art, is his benefactor. What was that about? The senior master who taught me the sword art is a grand master of our Huashan school, Ling Hucheng explained. This senior master's sword skills must have been almost magical. How come he is so nameless in the martial world? The girl asked. Well, I promised the Grandmaster that I'll never let out his story and his whereabouts, Ling Hucheng muttered. Huh, who cares? Even if you do tell me, what makes you think I'd be interested? Do you know who I am and what kind of backing I have? The girl challenged. I don't know. I don't even know what's your name, Ling Hucheng answered, shaking his head. You are holding things back from me, so I won't tell you either, the girl exclaimed. Although I don't know, I've figured out most of it, Ling Hucheng replied. You figured it out? How did you figure it out? The girl's face changed color slightly. Well, I am not 100% sure yet, but it will be all crystal clear tonight. How would it be crystal clear tonight? The girl couldn't help but ask, feeling more surprised. I'll just look up in the sky and see which star is missing. Then I'll know which goddess has decided to descend to... Oh my god. What is this? I'll just look up in the sky and see which star is missing. Then I'll know which goddess has decided to descend to the world. You are as beautiful as an angel, and angels don't come from the secular world. This is their version of Are You Hurt? When you fell from heaven? Is that how that pickup line goes? Bah! The girl spit at him, blushing wildly, yet feeling immense pleasure inward. You are talking nonsense again, she murmured gently. By then she had already lit the fire with the dead twigs and fuzz sticks. Stringing the already cleaned frogs onto a sharp stick, she roasted them above the bonfire. The frog grease dripped into the bonfire and made funny sounds as the wonderful smell of roasted frogs soon filled the air. Staring at the white smoke rising from the bonfire, she spoke gently. Yeah, I couldn't even read that. That was super cheesy. But it worked, apparently. It did work. Oh, we find out her name. My name is Ying Ying. Now that I've told you, I wonder if you'll still remember it as days go by. Ying Ying? That's a pretty name. If I had known your name was Ying Ying, I would never have called you Granny, Ling Hucheng uttered. Why's that? Ying Ying asked. The name Ying Ying obviously is the name of a little girl, and of course you can't have been an old granny. When I get old and really become an old granny, I wouldn't change my name. I'd still be called Ying Ying, Ying Ying smiled. You won't become an old granny. You are so pretty. Even when you are 80 years old, you'll still be a very beautiful little girl. Wouldn't that make me a monster? Ying Ying beamed. She waited for a few seconds and then said with a serious face, I've told you my name, but you are not allowed to use it to call me. Why? You are just not allowed. I don't want you to. Ling Wuchang stuck his tongue out and made a face. This is not allowed, and that is not allowed. Later, whoever becomes your... he muttered. Then at the sight of Ying Ying pulling a long face, he quickly stopped, and Ying Ying grunted heavily. Why are you getting angry again? I was saying that later, whoever becomes your apprentice has gotten to be suffering some hardship. He had wanted to say husband at first, but after sensing trouble ahead, he quickly changed it to apprentice. Ying Ying, of course, had a very good idea of what he had wanted to say. Ying Ying, of course, had a very good idea what he wanted to say at the first place. You are neither being serious nor honest, she exclaimed. Out of every 3 sentences of yours, there are at least 2 of them incoherent. I won't force anyone to do anything. If he likes to listen to my words, then he'll listen. If he doesn't, that's his choice. I like to listen to your words. Ling Hucheng beamed at her. Even this sentence had some teasing elements in it. Ying Ying knitted her beautiful eyebrows in a straight line as though she was about to have a fit of anger, but suddenly her face turned scarlet and she turned her head away. For a good while, the both of them just sat there. Neither one said a word. Suddenly, they smelled a terrible scent. Something was burning. Oops! Ying Ying cried out when she realized that the burning smell had come from the string of frogs on the stick in her hands. They had been terribly scorched. This is all your fault, she complained. You should have said thanks to my joking with you and making you mad. You were finally able to make such splendid scorched frogs, Ling Hucheng grinned. Pulling a scorched frog off the stick, he tore the frog leg off and gave it a good chew. Delicious, delicious. Only this degree of heating would be just right, adding a little bit of bitter into sweet, and then the sweet taste really comes out when the bitter wears out. This has gotten to be the most delicious food in the world, he praised. Amused, Ying Ying broke into a giggle and also started eating. Ling Hucheng hurried and ate the most burnt frog meat and left the not too badly burnt part for her. After the two of them finished the roasted frog meat, they lay down to the ground, bathing in the warm sunshine of the afternoon. Both of them were taken over by fatigue, and before they knew it, they both closed their eyes and fell asleep. Since both of them had stayed up through the previous night and both had injuries, the nap was deep and sound for each of them. In his dream, Ling Hucheng found himself practicing sword arts in the waterfall together with Yue Lingshan. But suddenly another man showed up, and it was Lin Pingzhi. Then he had a sword contest with Lin Pingzhi, but he had no strength in his arms, and when he tried hard to use techniques of the Dugu 9 swords, he just couldn't remember any of it. Again and again, Lin Pingzhi stabbed him in his solar plexus, his stomach, his head, and his shoulders. Then he saw Yue Lingshan bursting into loud laughter. Feeling both shocked and infuriated, he shouted loudly, "Little apprentice sister! Little apprentice sister!" Only after a few cries he woke up from the dream abruptly. Then he heard a soft voice say, "Did you dream of your little apprentice sister? How was she treating you?" "Someone wants to kill me. Little apprentice sister has not only ignored me, but also laughed at me," Ling Hucheng said, his inside writhed with bitterness. "You have sweat all over your forehead," Ying Ying sighed and said tenderly. Raising his arm, Ling Hucheng wiped the sweat off with his sleeve. A cold breeze suddenly blew by him, and he shivered. Then he noticed the star-filled sky. It was at night already. As soon as Ling Hucheng regained his consciousness, he calmed down. Just when he was about to open his mouth and speak, Ying Ying reached her hand out and covered his mouth. "Someone is coming," she whispered. Ling Hucheng concentrated his attention and listened carefully. Sure enough, sounds of 3 men's footsteps rose from a distance. "There are 2 more bodies. Wait. This is Zhu Qianqu. What was his voice again? Like a scholarly voice? "There are 2 more dead bodies." A while later, one of them spoke, and Ling Hucheng recognized that to be Zhu Qianqu's voice. "Ah, this one is a monk of the Shaolin school," another one uttered. It was Old Man, who had just discovered Zhu Yue's body. Ying Ying slowly withdrew her hand, and then they heard Ji Wuxi's voice. "These 3 are also layman apprentices of the." Wait, he had a Dracula's voice. "These 3 are also layman apprentices of the Shaolin school. Why have they all died here? Oh, this man is Xin Guoliang. He was an elite fighter of the Shaolin school." "Who could be so powerful, killing 4 elite fighters from the Shaolin school all at once?" Zhu Qianqu asked. Unless it was someone from the Dark Wood Cliff. Maybe it was Chief Dongfang himself," Old Man murmured haltingly. "That could well be," Ji Wuxi agreed. "We'd better bury these 4 bodies. In a hurry." so people from the Shaolin school wouldn't find it out, he suggested. But if it were really someone from the Dark Wood Cliff who had done this, they wouldn't be afraid of the Shaolin Temple finding out about this. Perhaps they had left these corpses here on purpose to put on a show of force. Zhu Qianqiu speculated. If they had wanted to put on a show of force, they wouldn't have left these corpses in the middle of nowhere. If we weren't just happened to pass by here, these corpses would have been eaten by wild animals, and no one would have found out about it. When the sacred Sun Moon cult wanted to put on a show of force, most likely they would have hanged these corpses in the middle of the capital city, and then marked clearly on the bodies that they are members of the Shaolin school. To humiliate the Shaolin school, Ji Wuxi said. So the sacred Sun Moon cult, that's the demon cult, right? They don't call themselves the demon cult. That's like a derogatory form, right? That's a derogatory name that the Orthodox side calls them. They call themselves the Sun Moon cult. I think you are right. Most likely, when people from the Dark Wood Cliff killed these four, they were in a hurry to pursue more enemies, and didn't have time to bury the bodies, Zhu Qianqiu concurred. Soon sounds of digging rose as the three began to dig the ground with their weapons, ready to bury the bodies. These three men had to be somehow related to Chief Dongfang of the Dark Wood Cliff, otherwise they wouldn't have gone through so much trouble, Ling Huchang thought to himself. Suddenly, Zhu Qianqiu uttered a cry of surprise. What's this? It's a healing pill, he said. This is the healing panacea of the Shaolin school. It has the power to return dead to life. I bet that it must have fallen out of the pocket of these Shaolin apprentices. Ji Wuxi concluded after sniffing the pill a few times. How would you know? Zhu Qianqiu asked. Many years ago, I saw one just like this at an old monk from Shaolin, Ji Wuxi explained. That's just wonderful. Brother Old, since this is a healing panacea, can you let your daughter, not dead, take this, and it will cure her disease? Zhu Qianqiu suggested. Well, my daughter's fate would only be the second priority. We should hurry to find young Master Ling Hu and let him take this pill, Old Man replied, which made Ling Huchang feel utterly grateful. That's the pill Ying Ying dropped earlier. How can I ask for it back from Old Man so she could take it? He thought over. He turned his head and looked at Ying Ying. Under the dim moonlight, Ying Ying grinned at him. She suddenly made a face, looking almost childlike, bearing a most charming smile on her lips. It was so hard to believe that she had just killed 4 master hands from the Shaolin school not too long ago. Then he heard the sounds of the three filling the grave they just dug up with rocks and soil to cover up the corpses. Oh, layman? What does layman mean? A layman is a normal person. So it's usually used in comparison to like a professional. So you would have a professional, and the other person would be, and a person who's not a professional would be a layman. A person without professional or specialized knowledge in a particular subject. Good try, chat. A man who lays things? Or that. There's a big problem, though. Night Owl, help me think here, Old Man muttered. What problem? Ji Wuxi asked. Right now, young Master Ling Hu must be together with the Sacred Lady. If I bring the pill over, I'll bump into the Sacred Lady, inevitably. It's all right if the Sacred Lady kills me out of annoyance, but for sure she would have felt very offended and displeased. and that would not be a good thing, old man murmured. So they are referring you as the sacred lady, and are just completely fearful of you? Why are you so apt to kill people? Casting a glance at Ying Ying, Ling Hucheng thought to himself. Well, I think those 3 blind men we saw on the road could be very useful to them. Could be very useful then. We'll catch up with those 3 and ask them to deliver the pill to young Master Ling Hu. Since they are blind already, then even when they find a young Master Ling Hu, together with the sacred lady, it wouldn't end up a fatal disaster, Ji Wuxi replied. But I suspect that their eyes were cut out because they saw the sacred lady together with the young Master Ling Hu, Zun Qianchu added. That's got to be it, young old man struck his own thigh and uttered. If not, why would 3 perfectly fine men suddenly went blind? I bet you these 4 Shaolin apprentices must have had the same kind of misfortune of bumping into the sacred lady and young Master Ling Hu. At that word, the trio fell silent, and Ling Hucheng found himself with more doubts and suspicions. Then he heard Zhu Qianqiu speak. Now the grammar is all bad. Then he heard Zhu Qianqiu speak again after a sigh. I just hope young Master Ling Hu would have a speedy recovery from his injury, so the sacred lady can make a happy, loving couple with him soon. As long as they are not married, there is no peace in the martial world. Ling Hucheng was astounded. He sneaked a peek toward Ling Ying. Under the dim light, he could vaguely make out a scarlet face and a pair of bright eyes which blazed with irritation. Afraid that Ying Ying would leap out and hurt the 3, he extended his right hand and then held on to her left hand gently. He could feel that Ying Ying's entire body was shaking wildly, but he could not tell if it was because of rage or shyness. Who would have thought that the sacred lady would get so mad at us for our gathering on top of the 5 Tyrant Ridge? Zhu Qianqiu went on. Alas, a man and a woman finding themselves in a passion of love is really the most natural thing, and for someone like young Master Ling Hu, an exceptional young hero, so unrestrained and benevolent, only a girl as beautiful as the sacred lady would be suitable as the counterpart. Why would the sacred lady, someone who so marvelous, act so bashful like any other vulgar girl? She obviously likes young Master Ling Hu very much, yet would not allow anyone to mention that, or to see that together. To see them together. Wouldn't that have been a bit unreasonable? Really? I wonder if these words of his are true or not, Ling Hucheng thought. Suddenly he felt a strong jerk from Ying Ying's hand in his palm, trying to break free of his grip. He immediately grabbed even tighter, very afraid that Ying Ying would kill the 3 of them instantly out of fury. Although the sacred lady enjoys exceptional status as the on the Darkwood Cliff, even Chief Dongfang never defied her wish. She is just a young girl after all, Ji Wuxi said. When a young girl falls in love with someone, the very first time in her life, even though she likes him so very much in her heart, she would still feel very shy and sensitive about it. This time, when we tried to fawn on her, though we had good intentions, we still made her very displeased. So bad that all of us are crude fellows and had no idea about a young girl's feelings. There were a few dozen girls and ladies on the 5 Tyrant Ridge, but unfortunately their dispositions were not that different from any man. The 5 Tyrant Ridge get-together, the brown-nosing the sacred lady did not like. When this episode gets out, those bastards from the Orthodox schools are going to laugh their asses off. The sacred lady has done us a great favor, and all of us are grateful to her and only wanted to seek ways to repay her kindness by curing her lover's injury. A true man remembers his gratitude and his grudges. To a benefactor, he pays a debt of gratitude, and to an enemy, he seeks his revenge. What's wrong with that? If any bastard dares to laugh at us, I'll skin him alive, the old man declared solemnly. By then, Ling Hucheng finally understood. The so many people flattering and fawning on him along his way did so all for the sake of this sacred lady named Ying Ying. And the over 1,000 people breaking up a hubbub and leaving it in a hurry on top of the 5-tyrant ridge was also because the sacred lady didn't want any others to know her feelings and became very displeased when this was made widely known in the entire martial world. Now the entire world knows it. Then he thought of something else. If this sacred lady, such a young girl, could make so many fellows of the martial world to fawn on him, she had to be a world-shaking figure in the demon cult. According to Ji Wuxia, even Dongfang Invincible, the one known as the number one in the martial world, never defied her wishes. Ling Hucheng was only a nobody in the martial world, and happened to make her acquaintance by learning the zither from her with a curtain in between, at a small alley in the Luoyang city. There was never any feeling of love involved. Could it be that Elder Bamboo Green had misunderstood it and let the rumor out, which made the sacred lady very angry? And then he heard Zhu Qianqu's voice again. Old man said it right. The sacred lady granted us great favor and kindness. If there is anything else we can do to help bring them together and make her happy all her life, even if we have to have our bodies smashed to pieces, we will die with nothing to regret. Being snubbed on the 5-tyrant ridge is really nothing. But young Master Ling Hu is the head apprentice of the Huashan school, which is at daggers drawn with the dark wood cliff. I am afraid that there will probably be many obstacles to overcome before this marriage would work out. I've got an idea. Why don't we take Yue Wuchun, the headmaster of the Huashan school, hostage, and then at knife's point, coerce him into upholding this marriage, Ji Wuxi suggested. That's a wonderful idea, Night Owl. Zhu Qianqiu and Old Man cheered together. There's no time to lose. Let's set up right now for the capture of Yue Wuchun, they said. But that Mr. Yue is the headmaster of a renowned school. He must have great attainments in both the inner energy department and the sword art department. If we fight him, firstly, we don't have a sure win, and secondly, even if we do catch him, I am sure he would rather die than submit. What are we going to do then? Ji Wuxi asked. Then we'll just have to kidnap his wife and daughter to add pressure for him, Old Man replied. I agree, but we must do everything in secret and not let anyone else know about it to make Huashan School lose face. Young Master Ling Hu would for sure be very displeased if he ever finds out that we have offended his master, Zhu Qianqiu added. In the next moment, the three began discussing details as to how they could kidnap Madame Yue and Yue Lingshan. Hey, you three reckless chaps, get out of here right now and stop bothering me, Ying Ying suddenly spoke, her voice loud and clear. Seeing her opening her mouth and speak all of a sudden, Ling Hucheng was stunned. He held her hand with an even tighter grip. Ji Wuxi, Zhu Qianqiu, and Old Man were simply thunderstruck. Yes, I... Old Man muttered, but after saying the word I 3 times, the terror started to sink in, and he froze. Yes, Your Highness. We were only talking nonsense. The Sacred Lady will not take that seriously. We'll head straight to the western regions tomorrow and never return to the central plains, Ji Wuxi muttered. That's 3 more who have just been banished for life, Ling Hucheng thought to himself. Who asked you to go to the western region? I have something I'd like the 3 of you to handle for me. Getting back onto her feet, Ying Ying said coldly. The Sacred Lady speaks the word, and we'll do it with all our heart, the trio replied in unison, each feeling overjoyed. I want to kill a person.
but I could not find him right away. You can spread the word out. Whoever kills this man will be guaranteed a handsome reward from me, Ying Ying instructed. We really don't deserve any reward. If the Sacred Lady wants this person dead, even if the 3 brothers of us have to chase him to the end of the world, we'll find him and kill him. May I ask the Sacred Lady the name of the stupid scoundrel who was so audacious to offend the Sacred Lady? Zhu Qianqiu asked. With only the 3 of you, you would not have enough eyes and ears to trace him. You must spread the word to the entire martial world immediately, Ying Ying ordered. Yes, your highness, the 3 replied all together. Get on to it then, Ying Ying demanded. Yes, your highness. Will the Sacred Lady please inform us which daring rascal does she wish to kill? Zhu Qianqiu asked. This person's surname is Ling Hu, and his name is Chong. He is an apprentice of the Huashan school. Ying Ying let out an irritated snort. Oh, what? What? Alright. Another 5-minute break, guys. Another 5-minute break. Oh, I need to find a song. Oh no! Come on, iTunes. Yeah, this is why you don't discuss private matters in public. When your bestie tells the whole neighborhood about your crush. That's basically it. Alright guys, 5-minute break. I'll be right back. Alright, back. Oh, that was weird. So she wants them to kill him. Alright, let's keep going. These words struck Ling Huchong, Ju Wushi, Zhu Qianqiu, an old man, like thunderbolts, and none of them knew what to say. A good while later, Old Man finally managed to mumble a few words out of his mouth. That... What about that? Are you afraid of the 5 mountains Sworder Lions and have not the courage to touch an apprentice of the Huashan school? Ying Ying snapped in a stern voice. When we serve the Sacred Lady, even the Jade Emperor or the Lord of the Underworld can be subject to our wrath, much less the 5 mountains Sworder Lions. We'll try to capture Ling Huchong and bring him to the Sacred Lady's judgment. Old man, Zhu Qianqiu, let's go, Ju Wushi answered. Young Master Ling Hu must have somehow offended the Sacred Lady in their conversations, Old Man thought to himself. The more intimate a young couple are, the easier they are at odds with each other. Many years ago, when Not Dead's mom and I loved each other so deeply, like honey mixed with oil, didn't we so also quarrel and fight every day? Alas, if it weren't because I punched Not Dead's mom so hard on the stomach when she still had the baby inside her that had messed up the pregnancy, Not Dead the girl wouldn't have gotten the disease before she was even born. Well, that was uncalled for. I guess I'll have no choice but to invite young Master Ling Hu to see the Sacred Lady and let her deal with him herself. Just when Old Man was still in the middle of wild flights of thoughts, Ying Ying bellowed, Who asked you to capture him? Every minute this Ling Huchong stays alive will only add more stains in my unblemished reputation. The earlier he is killed, the earlier I can vent my resentment. Your Highness, Zhu Qianqiu stumbled over his words. I see. You've developed good friendship with Ling Huchong and simply don't want to handle this for me. That's fine. I'll ask somebody else to spread the word, Ying Ying said with a chill in her tone.
Noticing the graveness in her tone, the three had no choice but to bow in compliance. Your command is our wish, Your Highness, they replied in unison. But Old Man thought to himself, Young Master Ling Hu is a man with kind-heartedness and justice. Today I have an order from the sacred lady, and have no choice but to kill him. But after I do so, I shall commit suicide to accompany him on his way to the underworld. He took the pill out from his chest pocket and then placed it on the ground. The three of them turned around and set off. Gradually, their receding figures grew more distant and eventually merged into dark shades of the night. Ling Hucheng cast a sideway look at Ying Ying, finding her contemplating silently with her head down. She wants me dead in order to preserve her reputation? How hard could that be? He thought to himself. If you want me dead, you can just take care of it yourself. Why stir up so many people? Ling Hucheng asked as he unsheathed his long sword slowly, turning it and then handed it over, sword handle first. Taking the long sword, Ying Ying turned her head slightly and then fixed her stare at Ling Hucheng, who straightened his back and burst into a laugh. Your end is imminent. Why are you still laughing? Ying Ying asked. That's exactly why I am laughing. My end is finally coming, Ling Hucheng replied. Raising the longsword, Ying Ying recoiled her arm in an attacking posture, ready to strike out. But suddenly she turned on her heels and with a strong wave of her arm threw the longsword in the air. The blade shined profoundly from the reflection of the dim starlight as it flew across the darkness and with a clank fell onto the ground in a distance. It's all your fault. Ying Ying stamped her feet on the ground hysterically. It's all your fault that so many people are laughing at me, as though that nobody will ever want me for the rest of my life. And I am trying every possible way to make you like me. What's so terrific about you? How can I ever see another person without feeling ashamed of myself? Ling Hucheng let out another laugh. And you are still laughing at me? Mocking? And you are still laughing at me? Mocking me? Ying Ying yelled heatedly. Suddenly, with a loud cry, she broke down in tears. Ling Hucheng immediately felt sorry as tender affections rising in his heart. He suddenly came to realization. She has a very high status in the martial world, with the many people always holding her in awe and veneration. Then of course she has a very sensitive pride. Besides, she is a girl, and girls are always born shy. Was that right? Now, when suddenly everybody says that she fell in love with me, it's only natural that she become very displeased. She told Old Man and the rest to spread the word, only to refute a rumor. She didn't really want me dead. Once everyone hears what she said, of course no one would believe that we are a couple, and the rumor would have no ground. At that thought, he spoke softly. It is really my fault causing damage to your clean name, miss. I'll be on my way. Goodbye. Where are you going? Ying Ying wiped the tears off her eyes with her sleeve and asked. Anywhere my legs bring me to, Ling Hucheng answered. But you promised to escort me. How can you just walk away like that? I must have had an inflated opinion of my abilities to say words like that. I really made a fool out of myself in front of you, miss. With such outstanding kung fu skills, you really have no need for any protection. Even 100 Ling Hucheng put together would be no match for you, Ling Hucheng answered with a smile. And as soon as the last word left his mouth, he had already turned on his heels to walk away. You can't go, Ying Ying yelled hastily. Why is that? Ling Hucheng asked. Zhu Qianchu and the other two have already set out to spread the word. It will only take a few days for it to become publicly known. Then everybody will be on your heels trying to kill you. It will be like walking on thorns every step of the way. You wouldn't be able to escape the fatal disaster even if you are perfectly fit, much less when you are so badly injured. Ling Hucheng dying from Mrs. Words. That's fine. Ling Hucheng grinned indifferently. He walked over to pick up the long sword on the ground and then shoved it back into its sheath. Feeling sure that he would not be able to climb up the slope,
he decided to walk alongside the mountain gully. Hey, stop! You! Seeing that Ling Huchang was walking further and further, Ying Ying ran after him, shouting, It will only bring you trouble if Ling Huchang stays with Miss. It would be much better if I leave you by myself. It will be much better if I leave by myself, Ling Huchang said. You. Ying Ying muttered, biting her lip hard, feeling the distraction growing inside her by the second. Seeing that Ling Huchang simply would not stop walking away, she ran a few steps closer and then uttered, Ling Huchang, you just want to force me to say it myself, don't you? What? I don't understand, Ling Huchang asked in surprise. Ying Ying bit her lip again and finally said, I asked Zhu Qianqu and the group to spread the word because I want you to stay by my side forever and never leave me. After these words, she trembled so frantically, as though she could collapse at any moment. You want to be with me? Ling Huchang stood in amazement. He is so clueless, you guys. Like, it's clear to the rest of the world. Except for this guy. Yes. After Zhu Qianqu and the other two spread the word out, you can only stay alive if you stay by my side. Who would have thought you didn't care about your life any bit and were not afraid at all? Wouldn't that have done you for good? Wouldn't that have done you for good? So you do care for me very much, but just wouldn't admit it in front of those other fellows, Ling Huchang thought to himself, as a stream of gratitude washed over him. He turned around and walked next to her, holding both of her hands into his own. Ying Ying's hands were icy cold. Ling Huchang could feel that both her palms were covered in cold sweats. Your hands are cold, Ling Huchang said gently. I'm afraid, Ying Ying answered. What are you afraid of? I'm afraid this fool right here won't listen to me and would rather risk his life out there. I am afraid that you might not even make it to the end of tomorrow and end up dying under those worthless, rotten lowlifes' murderous hands. They are all courageous and straightforward guys who respect you very much. Why do you despise them so much? Ling Huchang sighed. They laugh at me behind my back and they want to kill you. Wouldn't that make them rotten lowlifes? Ying Ying argued. But it was you who had ordered them to kill me. How can you blame this on them? Ling Huchang could not hold his grin back. Moreover, they never laughed at you behind your back. Remember when Zhu Wuxia, Old Man, and Zhu Qianqu mentioned in their conversation how respectful they were in their tones? What made you think they were laughing at you behind your back? They weren't laughing on their faces, but they were laughing in their guts. Hearing the girl persist unreasonably, Ling Huchang found it hard to refute. So he said, All right, if you don't allow me to leave, I'll stay here and be your company. Alas, it probably wouldn't feel that great to be chopped into pieces. Wouldn't feel great. You'll feel awful, Ying Ying replied, feeling wild with joy to hear Ling Huchang agree to stay. She turned her face to the side when she spoke these words, and illuminated under the dim starlight of the night, the snow-white face seemed to be glowing in a soft radiance. Ling Huchang felt a trickle in his heart. This girl is in fact much more beautiful than the little apprentice's sister, and she treats me with great care and affection. But why couldn't I forget little apprentice's sister even for a single moment? He thought to himself. But Ying Ying had no idea what he was thinking, that he was thinking of Yue Lingshan. Where's the zither I gave you? You lost it, didn't you? She said. That's right. I ran out of money on the way, so I pawned the zither in the pawn shop for some silver, Ling Huchang answered as he took off the pack on his back, opened it, and then took out the short zither. Ying Ying could see the tight wrap around the zither in the pack. Knowing that Ling Huchang had always treasured this present from her, she was very pleased. How many lies do you have to make every day to make yourself happy? She reproved. Getting the zither from Ling Huchang, she gave a few plucks to the strings, and then began playing that song of peace and serenity. Have you learned the entire piece yet? She asked. Far from that, Ling Hucheng answered. Quietly, he listened to the gentler zither sounds, feeling relaxed and joyful. After a while, he noticed that the notes of music were quite different from the ones she had played in the bamboo green alley in Luoyang. Now, they almost sounded like chirps from birds on top of the branches or spurts from mountain strings with continuous jingles and tinkles, sounding very interesting and pleasant. Same melody, but different notes. So this song of peace and serenity can have so many variations, he thought. Suddenly, a loud ring echoed as the shortest string of the zither broke in half. Ying Ying frowned, but continued to play. But only minutes later, another string snapped. Ling Huchang could sense much fidgety carried in the zither play, which were totally contrary to the intention of the music was supposed to depict. Before he had any success to think it through, another crack echoed as a third string snapped in half. You sit right next to me and keep disturbing me. How can I play the zither well like that? Pushing the zither aside, Ying Ying protested. I've been sitting here very quietly since the beginning. When did I ever disturb her? Ling Hucheng thought to himself, but he figured it out right away. So she could not find peace of mind and is blaming that on me. He didn't even try to argue and simply lay down on the meadow in repose with his eyes closed. Soon his fatigue caught up with him, and before he knew it, he had fell asleep. By the time he woke again, it was already the next day. He looked around and then found Ying Ying washing her face on her knees by the mountain gully. He watched on as Ying Ying began combing her hair after she finished washing her face. The skin on her arms was so white as though the arms were made out of pure jade, and the beautiful long hair almost touched the ground. The picture was so beautiful that Ling Hucheng forgot about everything else and just sat there watching in a daze. Ying Ying looked back over her shoulder and then blushed when she found Ling Hucheng gazing at her in a trance. Lazy bum, getting up so late, she grinned. I'll go catch some frogs. Let's see if I've built up enough strength. Feeling quite embarrassed to be caught gazing at her, Ling Hucheng uttered awkwardly. Why don't you stay lying down and rest some more? I'll go catch some, Ying Ying suggested. Ling Hucheng struggled to get back onto his feet, but all his limbs were sore and limp, and the energy streams inside him seethed the moment he tried to use his inner strength. Either let me die or let me live, Ling Hucheng thought to himself, feeling very irritated. Staying half dead and half alive like this, I am pretty much a good for nothing, even I am disgusted with myself, not mentioning how others would think of me as a complete nuisance. Your internal injuries might not be so hard to heal. This is a very secluded area. We have nothing else anyway. You can just let time take its course and let the wounds heal slowly. There's no need to be impatient. Noticing the displeased expression on Ling Hucheng's face, Ying Ying comforted him. The valley the gully flowed through was located in a remote section of the mountain range. Ever since the night when Ju Wuxi and the rest of the group passed by, no one else ever showed up. The two of them lived in the valley for almost a fortnight. Ying Ying's internal wounds had healed early on, and every day she would pick wild fruit and catch wild frogs for food. But Ling Hucheng only became thinner and thinner as days went by. She forced him to take the pill left by Great Master Fang Sheng and played the zither for him every day to help him fall asleep, but these did not seem to have an effect on his injuries. Ling Hucheng knew that his final day would be coming soon, but having always been open-minded all his life, he did not let that bother him, and kept talking and joking with Ying Ying every day. Although Ying Ying had always been arrogant and willful before, and the thought that Ling Hucheng would be suddenly gone any moment now, she became even more gentle and soft, docile and obedient, and attended upon Ling Hucheng with all her heart. Even at times when she got angry over trifles occasionally, she would immediately regret it and apologize to him. One day, after eating 2 peaches, Ling Hucheng was exhausted already, and soon he fell asleep. In the ooziness, he heard the sound of somebody sobbing. Opening his eyes slightly, he found Ying Ying bending over by his side, sobbing uncontrollably. Stunned, Ling Hucheng was just about to ask the reason for her grief when he stumbled across the answer. She knows that I am dying. That's why she is so grieved. Don't cry, don't cry. I can live for at least another 80 years. I am not leaving this world in any hurry. Reaching out his left hand, he stroked her beautiful hair and said with a forced smile, You are getting thinner and thinner every day. I don't want to live anymore. Ying Ying whimpered. Ling Hucheng could feel the utter sincerity and deep sorrow in her voice, and immense gratitude immediately filled his heart. A strong surge of warmth suddenly shot up his throat, and blood immediately gushed out of his mouth. The entire world seemed to have started to swirl around him, and before he knew it, he lost consciousness. Done. Yes. Another chapter. All right, finally. So this chapter, finally, we find out who the granny is. Okay, she's from the demon cult, and she is someone who is very powerful in the cult and very very influential. All right, so that's why everyone was so nice to Ling Hucheng, because everyone knew that she loved him, or she had feelings for him, and they want them to be a couple. Okay. And it looks like she's not a granny. She is a very young girl. Does Ling Hu get a bell toll? Well, if he dies, then we'll give him a bell toll. This was a good chapter? Good day, Fuzzy Static. How are you doing? Oh no, now the singing. Okay, yeah. Give me a karaoke song or two. What do you want me to sing? I owe you guys 2 songs. You want me to sing that Barbie song? I did that, right? I sang Barbie Girl? Or was that just in my head? I believe I sang that at one point for you guys. Barbie song again? I don't know. I think we should do a new one. Alright, good night, Arava. I don't know that song. I saw her standing there. I don't know that song. Rainbow Connection. I don't know that song either. I'm sorry. Will Ling Hu be continuing his adventures? I guess we'll have to see in the next chapter, wouldn't we? I don't know what Rainbow Connection is. I'm sorry. I know a lot of like oldies. Like old 90s songs. All right. We're almost finished, you guys. Look at this. Oh, we're done. We're done with the bottle. Yay! All right, cheers. Let me choose. You want me to sing that Rick Roll song? Oh, okay. I only know the chorus though, so it might be really funny.
Oh, smells like teen spirit. I can do that. Let's do that. I like that. Smells like teen spirit. I like that. All right, let me go pee. All right, then we'll sing. Be right back. All right, let's find a karaoke. Smells like teen spirit karaoke. Do I know Korean? Nope, I do not know Korean.
This is the checkers game where grandson and granddad
Oops.
will bond.
That's an ad. Ooh. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. This is Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. Hello, 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 hello. Can you hear me now? God damn it. I don't know why it does that, man. I think when I take out the mic from the stand, I kind of jiggle this USB slots and then it turns off the mic. Oh, god damn it. We have to do it again. It was such a good rendition, guys. It was great. I'm so sad you didn't get to hear it. Alright, let's play this song again. Yeah, it's almost a tradition that we met some technical issues. Guns, bring your friends, it's fun to lose and to pretend she's overboard, self-assured. I know, a dirty word. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, hello. With the lights out, it's less dangerous. Here we are now, entertain us. After stupid and contagious. Here we are now, entertain us. I'm the lotto, and albino, a mosquito, my libido, yeah. I need some time to get going. I'm worse at what I do. Wait, this gift. Little group has always been and always will until the end. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, hello. With the lights out, it's less dangerous. Here we are now, entertain us. After stupid and contagious. Here we are now, entertain us. I'm a lotto, and albino, a mosquito, my libido, yeah. And I forget just why it tastes, and yet I guess it makes me smile. I found it hard, it's hard to find a well, whatever, never mind. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, hello. With lights out, it's less dangerous.
Here we are now, entertain us after stupid and contagious. Here we are now, entertain us. I'm mulatto, an albino, a mosquito, my libido, undenial, undenial, undenial. What is this? Undenial, 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 undenial. Oh God. Suggest a song with high pitch. My heart will go on. Oh my God. Don't make me sing that. Oh, how about House of the Rising Sun? You guys like that song? It's here on the next video list on YouTube. Oh, Baby One More Time is good. Oh, we gotta do that one then. Good suggestion, Nikki. Good suggestion. Baby One More Time. Let's do it. Oh baby, baby. Oh baby, baby. Oh baby, baby. How was I supposed to know? Something wasn't right here. Oh baby, baby. I shouldn't have let you go. Oh. Now you're out of sight, yeah. Show me how you want it to be. Tell me, baby, cause I need to know now. Well, because my loneliness is killing me, and I must confess, I still believe. When I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time. Oh, baby, baby, the reason I'm breathing is you. Boy, you got me blinded. Oh, baby, baby, there's nothing that I wouldn't do. That's not the way I planned it. Show me how you want it to be. Tell me, baby, cause I need to know now. Because my loneliness is killing me, and I must confess, I still believe. When I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time. Oh, baby, baby. Oh, baby, baby. Oh, baby, baby. How was I supposed to know? Oh, pretty baby, I shouldn't have let you go. I must confess that my loneliness is killing me now. Don't you know I still believe that you will be here and give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time. My loneliness is killing me, and I must confess, I still believe. When I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time. My loneliness is killing me, and I must confess, I still believe. When I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. How was that? Just to let you know, like, I spent 2 hours reading, so my voice is not as good as it could be. Okay. If I were fresh, then that would have been perfect. That would have been a perfect Britney Spears. We scream at the top of our lungs to sing properly. You want I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys. Here's a bonus song. Alright. I Want It That Way is next on YouTube's recommended. So let's do that. Bonus song for you.
Welcome to the Disney Bundle, where Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus come to life on all your screens.
So I can do this. Yeah, you are my fire, the one desire, believe when I say that I want it that way. But we are two worlds apart, can't reach to your heart when you say that I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say I want it that way. Am I your fire, your one desire? Yes, I know it's too late, but I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say I want it that way. Now I can see that we're falling apart from the way that it used to be, yeah. No matter the distance, I want you to know that deep down inside of me, you are my fire, the one desire. You are. Don't wanna hear you, ain't nothing but a heartache, ain't nothing but a mistake. I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache, ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say I want it that way. Tell me why. Can't do it. tell me why I never wanna hear you say I want it that way, 'cause I want it that way. Yeah. Oops. So yeah, that's pretty good, right? I sing that at the karaoke clubs, so I'm a little bit better at that song than the other ones. Anyways, I think we're good. That was one bonus song. Okay? I was only supposed to owe you 2 songs, but I got into it. I got super into it. Hey guys. All right. Thanks for giving me suggestions for songs, and thanks for joining. And I will see you next week. Bye. Oh, I love you. I'll see you next week.